Hey everybody, in this video we're going to be taking a look at probably one of the worst values in cheap fixed blade knives you can find on Amazon, but probably one of the best values in OTF automatic knives you can find on Amazon, and I still would not recommend you to buy this knife, and we'll get into why here in a moment. Well, a couple moments. First off, I want to say that I saw this listed on Amazon for $20, and when I saw it and saw the pictures, I thought, I think I may take a chance on this. And the reason why I say take a chance on this is that it's listed as, and I will go ahead and read it from the listing. Now, it is currently unavailable, which is fine, and I think is actually a good thing. But without further ado, outdoor camping tactical hunting tools, EDC, fixed blade knife, fishing tool, aviation handle, survival pocket knives. Now, before we get any further, let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging here. It is EDC fixed blade knife, orientation aluminum handle, made in China. Okay, so fixed blade knife. Expecting a fixed blade knife from the listing, from the packaging, but I knew from the pictures something was not right in Denmark. Because in the pictures, which I'll kind of scroll through quickly here on my phone, as you can see, this doesn't look like a fixed blade knife. It looks like an automatic knife. Also, it looks very similar to another brand of automatic knife. And it's kind of hard. You probably, in fact, I guarantee it's hard to see and you may not be able to see it. But right here, you can see there appears to be a photoshopped black bar. So, kind of makes you wonder what they're photoshopping out there. It made me wonder, if it's a fixed blade knife, what are they photoshopping out? What they're photoshopping out is obviously this button. Now, as you can see, that picture looks far different than this scaled thing that we got. One, no proprietary fasteners. These are Phillips head. Two, totally different shape. And definitely light and junky feeling. Now, before we get into why I think it's good that this thing is no longer available, we'll get into the specifications of the product. Recommended uses: hunting, fishing, camping, brand generic, age range adult, color B2, material blade alloy steel. Total length 23 centimeters, blade thickness 2.5 millimeters. Total length 23 centimeters. That's not right. Anyway, length 9.5 centimeters. That is probably about right. Hardness 55 to 57 HRC. Blade material 440. Surface sandblasted alloy and lined steel plate. So I don't believe any of that, probably, because it also says that these are aluminum, and I don't really think they are. Now, what this knife is very much similar to and seems to be a kind of knockoff of would be the Benchmade Infidel. And I don't have one of those to compare this to. But I do have another automatic knife over here that I will get out in a moment. Now, probably the most egregious thing about this knife you may have noticed moments ago, and why I say it's good that this knife is no longer available, that says Benchmade on it. And this knife is clearly nowhere near Benchmade quality and is a very, very sad knockoff of a Benchmade. Now, like I said, I do not have a Benchmade automatic like that, but I do have a very old Benchmade automatic like this. And the action on this, the build on this, the quality of this far surpasses this. I mean, by hundreds of miles. I mean, this is from Florida to New York in quality. So let's do a little comparison. See if with this Benchmade, feels very sharp. I can cut some paper. Oh, look at that. It did cut the paper okay. I've not tried this before with this knife. Oh, look at that. Maybe the other side. Okay, no. Well, probably just me. If you just watch my Desert Dagger video, you can see that paper can be challenging. Oh yeah, challenged on the paper. Yeah, funny thing is, I do this off camera all the time without a problem. It's one of my favorite activities even. But as you can see, again, other than my terrible operation of paper cutting. There we go. Shouldn't let it get so wrinkly. As you can see, the Benchmade does a great job with that. I mean, a great job. Yeah, that kind of did it. Let's grab another piece of paper. Not so great. Not so great. I know that one was not my operating errors. Oh, that one will be. Okay. Now that's all the paper I had at the table. So as you can see, the Benchmade, which I've never sharpened, quite a bit sharper and easier to use than our knockoff Benchmade. Now, before we end our little video here, I want to take this apart really quickly and see, one, if this is actually made out of aluminum or if it's made out of that is dirty, or if it's made out of plastic, because that really feels like plastic, sounds like plastic, but I'm not totally sure. And I'm kind of curious as to how it's all put together and how it works. So, well, I really should extend the blade. I'm going to use this very nice precision screwdriver I was given for Christmas. Now I have a few sets of precision screwdrivers. Now, this one I was given for Christmas, I really like. It seems to work really well. I've only used it a few times now, but so far, I'm quite happy with it. And has my name on it. So let's go ahead and take these screws out. Go ahead and zoom in a bit. There we go. That's the easier way to do it. I mean, and I do care about losing these terrible little screws that look like they came in some sort of a cheap child's toy. Although this is not a cheap child's toy, it does have a real blade that is very pointy. They're not the same amount of tight, which I mean, I don't expect them to be the same amount of tight. I have very little expectation for this. Almost there. And hey, maybe I'll even put it back together. Oh, didn't even feel like I screwed into it. Oh, hey, I see metal in there. That's a good sign. Now, I will say if they made the handles out of plastic, they should have done some better marketing and called it space age polymer. Okay, that is definitely plastic. Oh, definitely plastic. A similar action to the other out the front knives that we see, lower end ones, and even higher end ones. It's a similar way they function. They have a gate here, a gate here. This uses a button on the side of the knife. The ones that have the button up here use it up here. You could even probably use this mechanism in one like that. I mean, you'd have to change this over, but generally what I would expect to see, definitely this is a plastic of some sort. They should have said space age material. That would have been even better, more appropriate, space age material. Like I said, I would advise not buying this if you do see it. Like I said, the listing for this one is currently unavailable, but I have the feeling that they will pop back up. As I see a lot, I don't want to say a lot, if you go and look on, say, Alibaba at knives like this, you'll see quite a few knockoff knives or similar knockoff knives for very low prices. And I'm sure that there is a pretty big incentive for people to have them branded as Benchmade. The company, the factory that made this, may not even know what Benchmade is. And maybe somebody just ordered up a big batch of these knives to be made with a butterfly and the Benchmade on it. Now, that's maybe naive to think that, but you never know. You don't know what they know about in China, and for all we know, they have no idea that there's another much more prominent knife company named Benchmade that makes high quality knives, not garbage plastic pieces of crap that people then try to sell as the actual real item. Although I'll give it this, at least in the listing it doesn't show that, but it probably doesn't show it because if it did, people would really complain about it. And it's something I can say about our Zenport SOG Seal Pup knockoff, which is obviously an exact copy of the SOG Seal Pup. At least it didn't say SOG on the blade. It says SOG nowhere on the blade. It doesn't try to impersonate the knife that far. And even in the Grandway knife we just looked at, which is not exactly the same as the SOG Desert Dagger, it makes no bones about what it is. But this is just shiesty. Just shiesty. To take a knife that is popular and valuable and sell what is essentially a knockoff of it. Now there are people, many people, who won't even know. They'll just think it's a nice fixed blade knife, and then they'll get it and they'll be in this automatic knife. Maybe they find out you can't have automatic knives in their state. There are all kinds of problems with this listing, and I'm kind of regretting having bought it just because, one, it is such a blatant knockoff, and two, it's not very good. It's garbage. It's a blatant knockoff and it's garbage. I mean, it's fun. Oh, I was gonna say it's fun to play with. There we go. There we go. Needs a little working back and forth first. Wow. I'm not gonna do it because it'll probably cut me, but when it goes forward you can feel it, like it's got a very terrible action. It's got a terrible action. Now what I will say is, maybe you have a knife that you're missing the spring out of, something like that, and you see this and you think maybe I'll pick it up for 20 bucks and use that spring in it. That might be something you can do. Otherwise, I would say avoid it at all cost. So, zoom back in on it. One last shot of this fine plastic piece of crap. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it informative, and I hope if you see this knife, you don't buy it. Thanks, and have a good day.